And it says, Jodi tor tap shune, keu na ashe, tobe ekla cholo. Which means, when you're calling out to somebody to come and support you, even if they don't come, you march on, ekla cholo.
A very warm welcome to a new episode of Ink and Insights. यहाँ सबैलाई स्वागत छ नमस्कार हाम्रो गेस्ट स्पेशल हुनुहुन्छ a very versatile personality with us today. She is a TEDx speaker. She generally don't like to call herself a motivational speaker. तर कहिलेकाहीँ keynote speaker भन्नुहोस् भनेर भन्नुहुन्छ. So I would say keynote speaker. उहाँले इन्डिभिजुअल र कम्पनीजको ब्रान्डिङमा पनि मद्दत गर्नुहुन्छ. So she has multi-faceted personality with us today. I'd like to welcome none other than Mannsi Agrawal. Mannsi, thank you so much for coming to our show. Thank you for your time. We are really privileged to have you in our show today.
Thank you. I'm so grateful to have this opportunity to have this conversation. It means a lot. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Mannsi. तपाईँ चाहिँ नि नेपालमा केही वर्षदेखि हुनुहुन्छ. यहाँ चाहिँ अवसर यहाँको चाहिँ च्यालेन्जेसलाई अवसर अपर्च्युनिटीमा चेन्ज गर्नुभएको छ. How did all this happen? When did you really started to feel that you can use your words as an armor to change the lives of people?
I think that for me, when I came into Nepal, I was 21 myself. Nepal was going through a transition as well, politically. Right? This is 2006-07. So politically, economically, even the way our society looked, we had a load shedding problem. We had all sorts of things. I think a lot of transitions were happening around then. Around the same time, I found myself involved in Toastmasters. I realized I loved the stage. Like being on stage with a mic in my hand made me happier than anything else ever could just to laksa. I mean, Tithi I got these opportunities to go and to speak. And after I spoke, I would get good feedback. People would say, oh, that made sense to us. Oh, that's a good thought. Oh my God, I never thought like that. Oh, I like the way you used your body language there, you know. So, starting, I started feeling confident as a speaker. I started feeling comfortable on the stage. And I started enjoying my journey. Later, around COVID, actually probably slightly before that, I realized I wanted to speak more. I wanted to share more. COVID, and then suddenly you have nothing to do with your life, right? I mean, how much of cooking, cleaning and cribbing can you do? Right. After a point, then somebody had told me start making videos. Randomly, Dharma Basira, camera rakira, I started making videos. Ek video viral bhai, but suddenly I'm like, oh, people are calling me a motivational speaker. Right. Okay, yeah. I mean, I can do this. You know, it's a good thing. Right. It was never, for me, training was always something that I did. Keynote speaking was not something that I was doing before. Yeah. Keynote speaking for me started after that. Right. So training to gari nahi raha the, stage ma confidence bani thyo, content bani thyo. Right. I knew how to coach, I knew how to train, I was doing all of this. But that was an added aspect that came in later. Right. And I think that the journey began in 2006-07, but it culminated around COVID time. So it's been a very long journey, probably with a lot of struggles. Right. But it's been a very fun journey, and today when I look back, it's also been a very fulfilling journey. Right.
So Mannsi, just reflecting back, मलाई के लागिरहेछ भने जुन तपाईको यो जुन ट्रान्जिसन भयो नि, यो ट्रान्जिसन जो इन्डियामा हुँदाखेरि र अहिले जुन ट्रान्जिसन भएको छ, तपाईलाई अहिले फर्केर हेर्दाखेरि how do you feel in terms of your growth, personal level, in terms of your maturity, in terms of understanding of society, in terms of understanding of the world, you shift perspective मा कस्तो आएको छ?
In terms of maturity, 100 on 100. In terms of financial and career growth, 30 on 100. But in terms of maturity, 100 on 100. In terms of understanding of the world, I have two very different and very conflicted opinions. Okay? एक तरिकाले नेपालमा बसेर लाग्छ I'm not very worldly wise, हैन त्यो एउटा जुन street smartness हुनु पर्यो जुन बाहिरको मान्छेहरुमा अलि बेसी होला. I don't feel I've developed to that extent. Okay? My friends are much smarter than me त्यो तरिका. But Nepal gives you an intrinsic sense of understanding of the world, maybe a bit more spiritual angle, maybe a bit more community को त्यो close knit वाला जुन angle छ त्यो तरिकाले फेरि राम्रो छ. But maybe street smartness, maybe understanding of a few things of technology, probably not that much. Maturity 100 on 100.
Right, very good to know
That's
that.
like I've seen everything just the lights are, right?
Right.
Your personal life, I've seen everything just the
Oh.
lights are,
But the kind of time that we are living in right now, people say, I mean, intellectuals say that it's a very flux time, right? We are living in a time of fluidity. Everything has been questioned, institutions are questioned, individual institutions are questioned. So this is the time कि तपाईँले बढीभन्दा बढी आफूमा सेल्फ रिफ्लेक्ट गर्ने स्पिरिचुअल बाटोमा अगाडि बढ्ने भनेपछि त त्यो सेन्समा पनि आई थिङ्क वी आर पुट इन द राइट प्लेस होइन त
Right place, right time, and right company. In Nepal, you also have the right company for things like this. I think people are just so much more easier to talk to here. Right? About you can randomly give me a call and we'll be like, yeah, let's meet, let's talk. Right? That does not happen so much in some of my friend circles in India.
Right.
They might be smarter in some ways, Gola. Maybe they're aware of certain things. But due to closeness or this ability to reflect as a group,
right.
this ability to have these conversations, and I think that's very important as well.
Oh, that's the space I think we fail to capitalize.
Yes.
अब चाहिँ तपाईँको जुन त्यो भन्छन् नि घरको चाहिँ भ्याल्युज सिस्टमहरूलाई हामीले चाहिँ नि त्यति वास्ता गर्दैन
Right.
त्यो जहाँ पनि त्यही हुन्छ होला सायद एउटा ट्रेन्ड but I think it's a high time that we realize what wealth we have.
Oh, yeah.
होइन तपाईँले त्यसमा काम गर्नुहुन्छ अलिकति हाइलाइट गर्न चाहनुहुन्छ
हिजो मैले एउटा टेड टक दिएँ होइन TEDx talk at Kathmandu University, Dhulikhela. And this was the exact topic of my talk. And it's really strange that it's come up here because you don't know about
it. I haven't heard about it.
You haven't heard it, it's not out yet. So this talk was about how Nepal, we think, is a poor country. I don't agree at all. Right? But then GDP here, we're not a rich country either. Right. Your question pani also, we have to be something. So I realized we're a wealthy country. Okay?
Right.
And hamro wealth or richness ma farak ke cha. Richness means income coming in, economics and wealth is when you have assets. And मलाई के लाग्छ नेपालमा assets धेरै छ. There's absolutely no dearth of assets. तर हाम्रो assets दुई खालको छ. First is obviously the physical, geographical assets. अब mountains देखि, पानी देखि, हरियाली, वनहरू देखि, all these things are definitely assets. तर त्यो बाहेक we need to understand that our cultural heritage, our wisdom that we have inside of us, our thoughts, the way we think, the way we are so close-knit as a community, yet so open to outsiders. त्यो पनि त हाम्रो asset हो नि. That's also part of our wisdom. So I think these are the assets that Nepal really truly has, and these are the things that we can capitalize on in a way. This is the Nepali way of living, and why not? So we're living in a good country at a good time, just about.
Right. मलाई अर्को जुन तपाईँ यो कम्पनीजहरुसँग काम गराउनु भएको छ, how do you see the companies that are operating? तपाईँलाई यहाँको चाहिँ तपाईँको mindset कस्तो देख्नुहुन्छ ग्रोथ प्रतिको? You can be very very open, है?
I can be very very open for you, not for the companies. That's going to be the challenge here. No, in companies, I face two kinds of problems. On the one side, people are like, oh, okay, let me put it like this. In some companies, when I go for, let's say, a leadership strategy meeting or something like that, I'm always told, hamro company ma, kaile ni performance review ramrosanga aunदैन. Everybody is close to everybody. If the मेरो भाइ हो यसको नराम्रो performance review कसरी दिने? You know what I mean? So त्यो एउटा shared company को goals हैन? एउटा shared एउटा family जस्तै हुने हैन? Which becomes a negative in some cases. So in a lot of companies they're like there's no proper appraisal system, there's no proper way of evaluating how our people are doing. Specifically because everybody is nice to everybody. The senior, the line manager does not want to give a negative review because they're like, oh मेरो भाइ हो 10 वर्षदेखि चिनिरहेको छु, मेरो बहिनी हो हैन? You're nothing, something more, So the point is that a lot of companies are struggling because we're not getting proper evaluations of employees. A lot of companies are struggling because people are there, like a government job, right? People are there, you don't really fire people, your culture is So a lot of mediocrity is also being tolerated. As a trainer, my job is to ensure that mediocrity goes and people work towards growth. On the other hand, there are companies which are super happy because they're like, oh, we're like a big family. We love being like a big family. It's so nice to be at office. We love to spend Saturdays with our office ko sathi. This is another level. So, there is this push and pull all the time. Yes, growth is happening, but I have to be very honest the kind of growth that I hear about when I speak to people in India or when I speak to friends in UK, and the kind of growth I'm seeing here, they're not at par. Speed is not at par. त्यो मेरो आफ्नो भाइ छ हैन इन्डियामा छ म भन्दा 12 वर्ष काल छु the kind of projects he's doing is unbelievable. He's in a very similar field as me, but the kind of projects, the growth, the way he gets contacted by big companies to do this, to be a consultant here, to do that, त्यो growth, त्यो mindset अलि छुट्टै छ, त्यो competitive अलि बेसी छ, fast अलि बेसी छ, यहाँ comfortable छ, यहाँ रमाइलो छ, यहाँ you know there's a different sense of अपनापन, right? That is there. Companies are struggling because of that, but the employees are really happy because of that.
Right.
So it's like that kind of a push and pull.
So you have to strike a balance between.
You have to strike a balance.
Yeah. So how does this happen? The kun stages ma kasari huncha yo? In terms of thought transformation.
Transformation. It always starts with accepting where we are, challenging where we are, figuring out if there's something else that might be better. This figuring out process is never linear. There's going to be a lot of, okay, now this person might be able to change his thought process if I give him data. This person, suppose somebody is smoking, right? And you are a doctor. I will give you data. Okay? Somebody is smoking, she's a mother. And so it's bad for your child. Then you give them emotions. Somebody is smoking, he's a neta. And say it's bad for your image. You know, people are going to do this, society could like you. You have to first understand where the other person is coming from in the process of trying to transform their thoughts. So for me, when I'm working, let's say with a client, with a group of people, I try and first understand them. Okay? It's never like, training mom, it's never a one size fits all kind of a training. There has to be so much customization based on the audience. It's never about me, it's always about them. Right? So that's how it happens. Understand where they are, what is their thought process, accept that there's a problem, show if there's something else that's possible, and then ask the right questions that will motivate them, that will change their thought process. Then when they're like, okay, I want to change, then you give them easy baby steps. Okay, maybe we can try this. Do you think that can work? Give them very easy, actionable, doable steps. And then the journey starts.
So the process is rather more important.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
The process must be internalize and the
एकदम आवश्यक छ।
अहिले तपाईले मोटामोटी धेरै ठाउँमा गएर चाहिँ ट्रेनिङहरु पनि दिनुपर्छ भिडियोहरु पनि मलाई त इन्ट्रेस्टिङ लागेको जुन तपाईको भाइरल भएर गएको थियो नि भिडियो नेपालको सन्दर्भमा जुन भन्नुभएको थियो which sounded so negative initially त्यो सुनिसक्दाखेरि चाहिँ मान्छेको चेन्ज हुन्छ तपाईलाई केले स्पार्क गर्यो why do you feel कि तपाई त्यो भिडियो लिएर आउनुपर्छ भनेर
I never felt मलाई त्यो भिडियो लिएर आउनु पर्छ हैन मैले धेरै वर्ष अगाडि एउटा आर्टिकल पढेको थिएँ why not to visit France or why you should not visit France त्यस्तो केही थियो हैन ठीक छ पढेको थिएँ बिर्सिसके एन्ड अफ स्टोरी त्यसपछि पेन्डेमिकको बेला बोर्ड भइरहेको थिएँ I went to Patan one day बिहान 4-5 बजेतिर उठेर स्क्रिप्ट लेखेँ यत्तिकै आफ्नो क्यामेरा बोकेर पाटन गएँ यत्तिकै जे पाए त्यो तरिकाले आफै सुट गरेँ अनि 3-4 दिनसम्म बिर्सी पनि हालेँ किन गरेको साथीहरु मेरो हाम्रो 6 साथीको ग्रुप छ 13 वर्ष भइसक्यो थियो अब स्टडी द मल विजिट नेपाल कोही पनि आएन I said ल ठीक छ डोन्ट वान्ट टु विजिट नेपाल I'll tell you why you should never visit
okay
हैन अनि साथीहरुलाई एक तरिकाले जिस्काउनको लागि अनि एक तरिकाले नेगेटिभ तरिकाले मोटिभेट गर्नको लागि बनाएको थिए सुरुमा तर क्वालिटी पनि राम्रो थियो इन द सेन्स एकदमै फोन क्यामेराबाट जे पाइते पनि थिएन राम्रो क्यामेराबाट खिचेको थिएँ यसरी ल ठीक छ हालिदिन्छु हाल्न 2 घण्टा अगाडि त स्ट्रेस भइराख्यो what if people don't understand what if they start throwing stones at my house you know what I mean त्यो fear हुन्छ नि and thank God it all worked out fine. I think I'm super grateful to the people, to Bhagwan, to everybody that it worked out fine. But it was never meant to be online. It was not supposed to happen. I thought I'll send it to my friend circle. And तर end result त्यो भिडियोले मलाई धेरै कुरा दियो तर साथीहरु अहिलेसम्म आएको छैन it has not succeeded त्यो जुन ग्रुप 5 जनाको आउनु पर्ने आउने भएको छैन 10,000 जना अझै आइसक्यो other cousins relatives this one that one साथीको relatives पनि आइसक्यो those 5 people still haven't come
तपाईको ट्रेनिङले तपाईको वर्ड्सले धेरै जनालाई मोटिभेट गरिरहेको हुन्छ तपाईलाई केले मोटिभेट गर्छ
my dreams I remember I told you that when I was young I had no dreams. I thought that gadi kinhalchu. Like that was literally the end point of my life. 2 years I'll buy a car.
At that point of time.
At that point, when I was 20.
Right.
That's it. Like end. 22 sama gadi kinya. This but life sorted. Gadi cha. Like that was literally the only thing. Stupid buddhi bantsa buddhi bantsa. These days kids are aware. Today I think I have a very small mindset just to that's okay. Growth mindset, but my thoughts are very small.
Right.
You know what makes me happy is maybe a 5 rupees orange wala ice cream. Paila hothyo ni orange stick ice cream. Give me that, I'm happy. Tyo pani same diamond set pani same. Tyo farak ke chaina ke mero lagi. But I realized that that's not right. At this point, if I don't continuously keep challenging myself to think of a bigger picture, I'll never be able to achieve a bigger picture. I am consciously for the last 2 years working on challenging myself to think bigger.
Right.
So now that I've finally come to a stage where I'm at least thinking bigger than before, now my dreams are so precious for me.
Right.
Internalized panitsa, emotional connection panitsa, they motivate me now.
Right.
So now it's all about my dreams.
And what does your big dream entail, if I may ask?
Not right now.
Not yet.
When it happens, it will happen. I know it will happen.
Yeah.
It will happen. But when it happens, I promise you, I'll tell you that it's
Sure.
not right now. Because
Definitely.
I haven't told anyone.
Right. Okay.
And it's bigger than a car this time.
Great. Whenever you are prepared, I would love to hear that.
Sure.
अनि तपाईको अरु how much you keep reading the stuffs on your related field? कसरी तपाई आफुलाई प्रिपेयर गर्नुहुन्छ? What do you do?
Prepare when I do trainings, when I do coaching. A lot of preparation has already happened in the sense every day I'm learning. Every day there's new experiences. There's new things that I'm seeing. There's new ways of challenging myself. When I write, I continuously keep learning. When you train, when you coach, you're continuously training yourself as well.
Right.
New insights happen all the time when I'm coaching.
Right.
So for me, my work perspective, that kind of work is always happening. How much do I read otherwise? Not as much as I would like to. That's the honest answer. Given a choice, I would like to read a lot more, but I think your bandwidth is high because my work is very academic. If I'm making a video, I'm writing.
Right.
If I'm doing a training, I'm also writing, preparing. If I'm speaking, I'm speaking. It's very words. It's very word-based. So the academic nature, I think the fiction, reading, let's read for pleasure.
And do you ever, will you ever feel that words will fall short of that words because you have been consistently using it for a long time?
I reuse my words.
How do you reinvent that?
I don't reinvent them. I reuse my words. I reuse my stories.
Right.
But I think words, words are so beautiful. 26 alphabets and you can say anything.
Right.
Words are like that for me. Just the way of putting words together, just the way the words sound, just the way the words combine together and become something bigger than what they originally are. I think there's so much magic associated with that.
True.
So for me, I don't think anyone's running out of words.
Right.
I think we're all going to have a huge supply because permutation, combination, kati धेरै options huncha हैन. So that's not going to happen. And I don't think I'm going to run out of stories either. I just know how to reuse them well.
Right. So मान्छेको पनि human civilizationको हिस्ट्रीमा पनि the cognitive revolution that we had long ago. त्यहाँबाट जब language मान्छेले युज गर्न थाल्यो, they use words in terms of writing and speaking. त्यहाँबाट त यो वर्ड्सले त तपाईको धेरै सभ्यताहरू बनाउने डिस्मान्डल गर्नेदेखि लिएर it does so many things. So Mannsi, you have this appetite for growth which doesn't come unless you expand yourself in terms of reading. I'm sure you must have hunger for reading a range of stuff, right? Fiction, non-fiction. के मन पर्छ तपाईलाई?
मलाई नन फिक्सन पनि एकदम मन पर्छ. फिक्सन मन पर्छ तर हिस्टोरिकल फिक्सनमा बेसी इच्छा हुन्छ. I also like poetry. I used to read poetry when I was in school. I think that is one of those त्यो childhoodको त्यो एउटा जुन एउटा विश थियो त्यो अहिले पनि त्यस्तै छ. That I don't really read poetry anymore.
But do you remember any poem that's very close to your heart? Can you recite anything for us?
I don't remember the whole thing,
Right.
but there are two poems
Sure.
very close to my heart.
Please.
Both are very contradictory when you think about it.
Mhm.
But I think that's the beauty of literature.
Right.
You can pick up something
Right.
and choose to internalize it in the way you want to.
Sure.
You can choose to process it and give it meaning in the way you want to.
Absolutely.
So there are two poems completely the opposite when I think about them, but both are very important to me. The first one, of course, of the Calcutta Batatsu, Rabindranath Tagore,
Oh, please. Yeah.
We grew up worshipping him. We
Sure.
grew up, I've been to Shantiniketan,
Yeah.
where his university was, and
Right.
there's a mandir dedicated to him. So,
That's right.
when you have that kind of reverence for somebody, their
Absolutely.
words mean a lot to you.
I know. Yeah.
And there's a very famous song, in fact, that he wrote called Akla Chalo. Have you heard about it?
Yeah.
So this is ekdam cliched wala hai,
Yeah.
na?
But very nice.
Very
Please.
nice.
Yeah.
I just like the first sentence
Sure,
only,
sure.
right?
Yeah.
It's in Bengali, of course,
Yeah.
Bangla. And it says, Jodi tor ডাক শুনে কেউ না আসে তবে একলা চলো, which means when you're calling out to somebody to
Right.
come and support you, even if they don't come, you march on, ekla cholo, like walk
Move
alone,
on, yeah.
walk alone.
Yeah.
And this was written, of course, around the independence struggle of India,
Right,
right?
right.
So at that point, it had a very important cultural and historical and
Absolutely.
political perspective.
Yeah.
That आजको दिनमा पनि those words are so relevant जस्तो
True,
लाग्छ के
true, very
even
much.
today
Yeah.
70 years down तर पनि कतिचोटि यस्तो हुन्छ नि you're feeling low, you're feeling alone,
True,
and you want
true.
somebody to be there for you, but sometimes it's not possible. Akla chalo,
Sure.
walk alone,
Sure.
keep walking, keep
Yeah.
moving.
Yeah.
त्यो एउटा भयो. So that's Rabindranath Tagore. On the other hand, John Milton, right?
Yeah.
So John Milton, poet, and he was going blind, correct? So when he was in the process of going blind, he had a very big concern that I'm going to go blind, people won't be able to read my work because I won't be able to write so much anymore.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So he wrote this poem, and I don't remember anything else. Something, Yog we bear, something. The last kutyo, those also serve who stand and wait,
Right.
which means that God le jun हामीलाई टास्क दिएको छ, यो अर्थमा आएर जुन गर्नुपर्ने काम छ, त्यो काम त गर्छ, and you're serving God if you're doing the work.
Right.
But even if you're not able to do that work,
Right.
or even if that work does not happen, you are still serving God if you're just waiting patiently, if you're
Yes.
patient, and if you can just accept that you're not doing anything, you can just accept that things are not happening, or you can just accept that this is my role.
Right.
Your contentment and patience ko त्यहाँ कुरा आयो.
Oh.
So एक तरिकाले both are completely opposite.
True.
But then I also think of it like this: literature is open. It's like an open book. You make what you want of it.
Absolutely.
So on some days I'm like akla chalo. On some days I'm like stand and wait,
Yeah.
stand and wait, patience.
How beautiful. I mean, you have space to navigate
You
through
can
any space.
absolutely,
Right?
and I think these two really sum up
Yeah.
what I tell myself sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm like, okay, nobody akla chalo. I will do this alone.
Right.
I can do this alone. Let me try this alone. Some days I'm like, not happening. Stand and wait. Still serving. Still doing my thing.
Yeah.
So I think that's the beauty of literature, and
True.
that's what I took from these.
Yeah, very nice. I mean, it was great to know that you have such a love for literature as well. I mean, it's something that we explore in this program right now. But then that is going to tie a knot of friendship between you and I think.
I'm hoping it does. That would be great because
Sure.
I'm a part of a book club.
Right.
तर secret यो छ.
As it-
It's a fiction-based book club. Okay, with six girls. सबैको छुट्टै स्टोरी. एकजना नेपाली but born and brought up in Australia, एकजना Scottish, एकजना British, एकजना French, एकजना म Indian. But we're all in Kathmandu and all friends and all in the book club.
As it-
क्रेजी स्टोरी यो छ. 5 महिना भइसक्यो. 5 बुक्स पढ्नु पर्ने.
Right.
मैले एउटा पनि पढेको छैन.
You don't have literal time, yeah.
I literally don't have time. So I go for the meetings, and sometimes I try to fake that I've read the book. Last meeting, I was like, listen, guys,
Right.
I'm an imposter.
Right.
I haven't read your books. If you want, I will leave the club now, but I don't want to. I love you all. They were like, don't leave, just be here. We will tolerate you
Yeah.
without you reading any books, just be here. So I'm like, okay,
We can talk anything.
No, they talk good stuff, and I contribute to the conversation
Sure.
without knowing what happened in the book. So context is like,
That's such a nice thing. Okay, we will continue with the discussion further in future as well. Mannsi, thank you once again for being a part of my show. I'm really thankful.
Thank you. I'm grateful too. Thank you so much. Thank you.